Good Friday afternoon. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Chris Harabsky. We turn right away to the war with Iran this afternoon. Israeli leaders are pledging no new attacks on the key Iranian gas field. Still, Iran says the war will go on. NBC's Matt Bradley reports from Tel Aviv.
We are now on the eve of the 3-week mark of the American and Israeli joint attacks against Iran, and so far, this war is still going. It seems to have defied all hopes for a quick resolution. The Strait of Hormuz is still being blocked by Iran, and that is sending global energy markets reeling. Now, in addition, more misfortune is being heaped on global energy markets as the Iranians have now been attacking once again energy installations throughout the Gulf region and even targeting energy installations here in Israel. Meanwhile, we've also heard from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in his first real public statements since the war began. He said last night that the Iranians no longer have the ability to enrich uranium. He also said that he will no longer be attacking the South Pars gas field. This was something that was very controversial. President Trump had come out and publicly scolded Netanyahu. Netanyahu has now said that he's no longer going to be doing that, but the Iranian reaction is still ongoing, striking energy installations across the region. For the Iranians, as far as they're concerned, striking at energy installations means that they can retaliate against energy installations. Well, that spells some spiraling misfortune for global markets and those who rely on the energy from this region. Matt Bradley, NBC News, Tel Aviv.
Today, family and friends of Major Sergeant Nicole Omar gathered for a private funeral to celebrate her life. That White Bear Lake native was killed in an Iranian attack in Kuwait. Amar's family is asking people to donate to Operation Nikki's Embrace to build a greenhouse in her honor. We have a link on our website, KARE11.com. Developing today, the man accused of shooting and killing his estranged partner and her son in Lexington is making his first court appearance today. Irvin Marsaw is facing 2 counts of second-degree murder. Court documents show a child called 911 and reported her mother and brother were shot by someone named Irving. Police say 44-year-old Jennifer Marsaw died on scene. Her son, 5-year-old Marzai, died at the hospital. Police found Irving Marsaw hiding in the woods shortly after. Jennifer's family confirmed to us that the two had a troubled relationship. In court documents, officers say Irving referenced the crime, saying that it happened in the heat of passion. The Anoka County Sheriff's Office says these are Lexington's first murders in 17 years.
Any homicide is heartbreaking. Any loss of life is heartbreaking, but when it involves a juvenile and a young juvenile at that, it's going to affect even more people.
Also today, the man accused of spraying a liquid on Congressman Ilhan Omar appearing in court this afternoon for his arraignment. Anthony Kazmirchek is facing third-degree assault charges. You see video of this here. This is back in January. Kazmirchek was filmed spraying what investigators say apple cider vinegar on Omar during a town hall meeting. His nephew told KARE 11 that he attacked Omar because he disagreed with their political views. This afternoon, reactions are coming in from around the world following the news that actor and martial artist and all-around legend Chuck Norris has died. A post on Norris's Instagram account says that he was surrounded by family and at peace when he died yesterday at 86 years old. His death comes after he was hospitalized in Hawaii following a medical emergency. Norris became an international action star, performing in a number of movies in the 70s and the 80s before starring in the TV show Walker, Texas Ranger. This afternoon, we're learning a Minnesota woman will not face charges after she was arrested by Capitol Police during President Trump's State of the Union address last month. Aliyah Rahman was Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's guest. She was escorted out of the House chamber when she stood up silently in protest during the speech. At the time, Omar said that Rahman required medical attention after that arrest. Rahman's lawyer celebrated the decision, but said she never should have been arrested. Governor Tim Walz will be in office for just 9 more months, and today he's reflecting on his time in office. Everything from the aftermath of Operation Metro Surge to his handling of the massive fraud crisis in Minnesota. Danny Spiewak brings us our first one-on-one interview with the governor since he ended his campaign.
2 months ago, Governor Walls changed Minnesota politics by ending his re-election campaign.
You've said it was a decision you made with your family. Was there anyone in the party that came to you and said, "We don't believe you can win, you need to step aside"?
Well, no, not directly. I'm sure they might have thought it. In fact, it was kind of just the opposite of a lot of allies. There was a lot of polling. But just to be candid, I think going back to summer, especially after Melissa and Mark's murder, I just didn't know how much my heart was in it.
The governor has acknowledged that fraud created a distraction for his campaign.
There were system failures with the fraud, but the people, the commissioners running these agencies, why didn't you have more firings, more terminations in those early days?
Look, these are folks trying to do the work and trying to get a vision into this. Some of it is really, really difficult to see because of the complexity of how they carried out these frauds. There have been changes.
Has your administration directly fired or terminated anybody because of lack of oversight with fraud?
Well, there's certainly been positions changed.
The Minnesota Department of Human Services does have a new commissioner in Shireen Gandhi, but former Commissioner Jody Harpstead stayed on until early 2025, testifying on fraud toward the end of her tenure.
There's a lot of rumors of fraud more than there is actual fraud.
The former DHS Commissioner Jody Harpstead at one point had said there were more rumors of fraud than actual fraud, and we know that wasn't true. Why did she stay on the job until 2025?
Well, I think, delivering the services that she needed to deliver, that us trying to understand exactly how deep this went. These cases sometimes last 2 years.
In a supplemental budget request this week, the governor proposed more anti-fraud measures, plus an expansion of child care tax credits and financial relief from Operation Metro Surge.
When's the last time you spoke to the president or somebody in his administration?
Now it's been several weeks.
Walls asked the Trump administration about who was detained, including how many kids, but he says they never responded. The state is also actively suing the federal government for attempting to withhold Medicaid dollars.
This is about retribution against Minnesota, and it's very unfortunate.
Danny Spiewak there with that interview. In his last legislative session this spring, Governor Walls will be working with a divided legislature to try and pass some of his final priorities. After this, he says he has no plans to ever seek elected office again. Right now, Hennepin County businesses impacted by Operation Metro Surge can apply for recovery fund grants. Eligible small businesses can get between $3,000 and $10,000 to help cover rent or mortgage payments. To qualify, businesses need to show they lost more than 30% of their revenue during Operation Metro Surge, have fewer than 50 employees, and be based in Hennepin County. The county is also working with a local group to review applications to make sure the money goes to businesses that really need it.
There's a specific process that our partner will go through to ensure that they have that documentation and go through those steps with that business owner before any type of granting of any money is done.
Businesses have to apply by next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Meanwhile, the people in the Twin Cities are set to receive the 2026 JFK Profile Encourage Award for their response to Operation Metro Surge. In an announcement, the JFK Library Foundation honored the community who, quote, responded to an unprecedented escalation of immigration enforcement with extraordinary courage and resolve, end quote. The foundation specifically mentioned the peaceful protests that tens of thousands of Minnesotans participated in. The award will be presented on May 31st at the JFK Presidential Library and Museum. It's in Boston. No word yet on who will be there to receive it. Spring break season is starting to pick up, and security lines at airports across the country are getting longer. It comes as the DHS shutdown passes the 5-week mark. NBC's Aaron Gilchrist reports from Atlanta.
The world's busiest airport is living up to that nickname this morning. We are watching the TSA lines here at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International. This is actually the good line that we're looking at right now, with the wait time in the 45 to 48 minute range, but the reality at the main checkpoint is closer to 2 hours. And this is something that we're seeing play out in airports all over the country. We've seen it all week long. It is continuing today, and there is the potential for it to get worse. We know that TSA officers who are not being paid right now because of the partial government shutdown, that shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security. Many of them have been calling out. Right now, there's about a 10% call-out rate that we've been seeing this week. Here at this airport, it is much higher, closer to 40% at different points during this week. Those officers are calling out. We know that more than 300 TSA officers across the country have quit their jobs altogether because they just can't make ends meet while they're waiting weeks and weeks for a paycheck with this shutdown now in day 35. If there is a glimmer of hope, it is the fact that senators who've been negotiating a deal to try to get the agency back open did have a meeting yesterday with the White House. We're told no deal was struck there, but the fact that their meeting could represent some progress as travelers here are dealing with frustrations and headaches. Those TSA officers are dealing with the same frustration and headaches as we wait for this shutdown to end. Back to you.
New analysis from the World Weather Attribution Group says climate change is to blame for the historic March heat wave taking over the West. Researchers say the current conditions would be virtually impossible this time of year without global warming. Dozens of monthly records have been shattered because of extreme heat, and the country's all-time March high has already been tied at 108 degrees. The study finds events like these are still rare, but they are 4 times more likely to happen compared to a decade ago. Stick with us. We got more news, more weather. It's coming up after the break.